to Bitch Sesh, the Real Housewives Breakdown Podcast. I am Danielle Schneider.
Casey Wilson.
And she's back, guys. She's
so
back.
back.
We always miss you, as do our listeners.
I miss you guys so much, and I was laughing so hard listening. As a fan, I was driving yesterday, and I, scrolling through my podcast, and I just thought genuinely as a fan, like, I'd love to hear that. And I turned it on and listened to you and Matt, and I thought, this is a great show. It had nothing to do with me. Like, you guys were very entertaining.
But it is good news that you are a fan of us.
And I got a thrill when I heard the music, because we don't hear the music.
No, we don't. I wish we should blare it through there's a stereo system in here. Why is it not playing constantly?
All right, Danielle.
I'd like to come out to that. Like, when I do win my Oscars and Tonys and Pulitzers, I would like if that's like the band is playing dun 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 dun. Like, is that gonna be like, what instrument is that?
Yeah.
Who's that gonna
like? And now, what movie is that from?
No, it's from my podcast that I've won all these awards for. They'll make this podcast into a movie and a book, don't you think?
Most likely. Yeah, a movie and then a book.
And then a book.
Reverse.
Yeah, they do that with Star Wars sometimes. They do and this is the Star Wars of podcasts. People have said it.
So many people have said it. I feel like you're going to get, what's the award from 30 Rock?
The EGOT?
The EGOT for Bitch Sesh.
For Bitch Sesh. God, a girl can dream. Mm-hmm. And right now, you've put that dream in my head, and I blame you and thank you.
You will achieve it.
I can't wait.
It's so strange. I have to just tell our circumstances. We are recording this morning.
In the light of day. First of all, you guys are flawless in the morning. You don't seem to have makeup on and are gorgeous, both of you.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, our guest. I'll bring her out.
Our guest just mouthed I have on quite a bit.
But Casey,
and Danielle, you have false lashes.
Yes, I am housewife ready. Like, I am.
Hervé Leger wrap dress.
Yes, I have a cape like Sonia was wearing this week. Like, that was quite. You loved that ensemble, and we'll get into that. But that was. She looked like Auntie Mame.
And that's how
you would like to dress,
honestly,
constantly. But it is the light of day, and it's.
Yeah, we're in the Nook at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I have to say, it feels kind of nice.
Yeah, it feels like a coffee clutch as opposed to a boozy nighttime activity, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
Let's get into it. So much Housewives news before we introduce our guest.
Guys, we were awoken yesterday morning with
a shock.
So much so that I woke up before daybreak to receive this from a listener tweeted at me, and I immediately texted Casey because she has a personal involvement. Casey, do you want to reveal?
Yeah, my eyes opened to see the news that Jules Weinstein and her husband are getting divorced.
Michael.
Jules, of course, Michael. Thank you.
I don't know if you are not saying his name on purpose because it can't be in your mouth right now.
It's hard to say when you stood behind someone for so long.
Someone that no one was rooting for, honestly. That no one was saying, like, this is my guy. This is my horse that I'm betting on.
No one was saying, like, they don't like him, they do like him. Everyone was like, we don't give a fuck about that guy. And I went out of my way to say, I see you down there.
Way down
there. And I like what I see. I see a nice man. I see a mensch. I see a sweetheart of a guy just trying to get his construction projects off the ground, be it in the Hamptons or in New York.
Yeah, will that pool ever get finished?
That has been Danielle. Oh my God. I thought to myself so much, what happens to that project? Do they both walk away?
Yes. Do you just say, and like, just that's their marriage on some level. If you think like an unfinished project where someone bailed.
An unfinished indoor pool is their legacy.
Yeah. And that is tough.
Just like a heap of rubble.
It was a heap of rubble before, but then to walk away, which they will and they should.
And I do feel like whenever I see an indoor pool, and I've seen it a few times, I just want to cite, here we go. Of course, Mohammed's indoor like spa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like I don't even know what that was. It was sort of like a bathhouse down there.
Like a bathhouse from the East Village.
Yeah, it was so it's strange. And I believe it smells like chlorine. Like I can smell the chlorine from the basement.
And then on Dallas, when they were showing that indoor pool in Switzerland that the plastic surgeon and his wife,
they are so hateable. That couple is the worst couple. I would say worse than Michael and Jules.
Wow.
I don't like them at all. But
I don't either.
We
never talked about
No,
them.
I hate them.
The fact that it's like a twist, their coupledom is a twist, where it's like he wants to spend a lot of money, but she's roping him in. It's like, oh.
Ugh, and they're like, we have to go to Switzerland next year in Switzerland, as we Jews say, like next year in Israel. I feel like they're next year in the Holy Land. That's their.
Her mouth is so long, like very horizontal. It's just so long,
and she thinks she's a better person than she is, and she's garbage.
Yeah, she is, and I'm actually appreciate LuAnn.
Oh, I put LuAnn way above her.
LuAnn, quickly, we'll just blow through that because we're here really quick.
But we are sad about the news, and Casey is reeling.
I'm reeling, guys. Michael, I'm just surprised. I felt like they had something, you know?
I did not.
Oh.
I thought that, but I thought that he was like, even in last night's, we'll get to that. But the way he was like taking that selfie, like as they were like having dinner, like he was not in.
Okay, I gotta say that's post this news. Now,
do you
of course,
think
we're
so?
seeing everything
you don't
under
think,
this microscope.
But do you think that edit, like that was meant to show us he is not caring about his wife? They showed that on purpose, otherwise they wouldn't have shown it. They cut to it.
Look, I thought they had a little something. I didn't know what, but
and you thought he had it.
Money.
Yes.
It is money, and that's what I thought they had together. But I don't know. I'm just kind of surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it took us all by shock.
I hope he finds a nanny who's fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, and yeah, it's devastating to that family. Devastating.
We'll get Jules another season.
Yes, definitely. That is something I thought
and
immediately.
And that's a silver lining for Jules.
Yeah, because she was out of there, and now she's in, like Flynn.
Yeah.
But moving to Dallas.
R.I.P. Jules
R.I.P. Jules and Michael.
I just want to say one thing. It makes me question. I think everyone thinks of themselves as someone who's like a good judge of character. Everyone on earth is always like, I know when I see something off in someone. And it's like, look in the mirror. And so I definitely take pride in like, I can get someone's number. And I was like, Michael, you're a saint. Now I'm like,
and then it was, you've never been more wrong.
I know. And it's kind of rippling out.
Yeah. Like, are you looking at other choices you've made in your life?
I am.
And I hope
questioning.
Yeah.
So Jules and Michael, I mean, we'll keep following this.
Yes, that
of course.
We'll be on it, and we thank our listeners for being on it and tweeting us immediately when they heard the news.
Thanks for that news,
because it felt like support. It felt like love in this dark time, especially for Casey. You listeners were very concerned about Casey, and I think she appreciated it.
I do appreciate it, you guys, and I'm not ready to get into it more right now.
Yeah. But thank you for your thoughts.
And now let's move on to Beverly Hills. Yolanda Foster has announced she's quit the franchise.
In a Instagram, very Yolanda-esque, where lots of hashtags.
Yeah, it's like hashtag yo, hashtag Lon, hashtag duh.
But she has decided that, it's not the way that she wanted to end this chapter, but it is an end nonetheless.
What's not the way?
I think she didn't want that to be her last season. And she said something, and again, maybe it's me reading into it, but she said something. Casey is on Instagram immediately.
I'm just pulling it up. Go on.
You have it. Oh, thank you.
Oh, shall I read it?
Yeah, you can read
Yolanda.
excerpts.
The photo is her in front of the Watch What Happens Live red carpet.
Yes.
She says, red heart emoji, I would have loved a more graceful exit than, in quotes, season 6.
As if it didn't happen.
As if she called it season 7.
Yeah, or as if she calls it like, that's not television. It was a train wreck. It was a travesty. I know it. Now I'm turning into like Vampira. All over. My accent is all over the place. I understand
guys,
that.
It's 9 a.m. We've had a lot of coffee. This is a different
color
on us.
Yeah.
She says, but sometimes we don't get control of the ending of the chapters in our life. And then she says, ...
Ooh.
I am leaving what's over without denying its past importance in my life. It's like a haiku.
I know.
I believe that every exit is a new entry. And with that in mind, I say goodbye to my Bravo TV family as I continue to focus on my recovery, my children, and bring back the privacy within our home. Thank you to all the fans for your loving and unwavering support these past 4 years. I'm grateful for the housewife experience and all it has taught me.
Oh. Was it a typo or was it?
All it has taught me. That was upsetting. I apostrophe am excited about this choice in all caps and look forward to the next chapter of my life. Hashtag Real Housewives. Hashtag time to say goodbye with hashtag gratitude.
Hashtag gratitude. And I have to say hashtag gratitude to you, Yolanda.
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yolanda, gratitude.
To Yolanda. You know, will we speak your name in these hallowed halls again? Yes, we will. Your name will bandy about the nook, even though you are gone.
Seems like, I guess she quit, but almost like she was fired. But I know she quit.
She wanted us to know she quit. She said choice in big words.
I'm feeling anger right now because what I hear in the distance is my husband who's watching my son, him like dropping his ball down the stairs over and over and going, uh-oh. I'm like, take him upstairs.
It's adorable, though. I hope you guys...
1 hour.
This is mourning us. This is mourning
my
us.
husband just screamed angrily, we're going on a walk.
This is mourning us. It's a different...
You're seeing the Jules and Michael
dynamic
here. No. Great father. Hashtag Father's Day.
Hashtag gratitude. Hashtag Real Housewives.
So that's those
big news. All yesterday. It was a lot for us to take yesterday.
So much.
That was tough.
So much. The next thing we have to discuss is, before we bring on our guest, is Southern motherfucking Charm.
Guys.
It was, if you have not seen, I don't care if you don't watch Southern Charm, you go and you buy the last episode. And you watch it, and you sit there
especially the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, if you don't have time for the whole thing, that's okay.
Just get into the last 20 minutes.
T-Rav's, that's Thomas Ravenel's dinner party.
But was he was drunk? Yes, he seemed to be drunk from the start.
I gotta stop you there. It was a drunk and an anger, and that was like. That was bourbon. That was Southern bourbon. That was like
it was
historical.
Soaked. It was soaked in mendacity. like it was deep. His voice got deep, and it
came out of nowhere. If you haven't seen Southern Charm, again, you need to watch this episode. Yeah. If you watch nothing else, and then go back.
Yeah,
but
it was.
Thomas Ravenel gathered a dinner party full of all the cast members, and they think they're having a nice dinner to welcome Thomas's new son. And instead, he literally raises his glass, and it was funny because we'd just seen him giving a house tour, and he seemed really normal.
But he did seem a little tweaked when he was like, "You can smoke a cigarette in here," to Landon, because he was like, "I don't care. We used to smoke all the time in my house when we were kids. Why can't we smoke anywhere?" And I was like,
Landon was like, "Where's my sister Bam?" And so then Bam.
So that with a hat during the day, like inside.
And a red lip.
That was tough. But
an orangey red lip on Bam.
But But that's when I was like, something's up. It
okay.
To me,
I didn't connect that dot.
To me, I was like, oh, he's tweaked. Like something's. He was slurring, and I was like...
He lifts the glass and proceeds, like machine gun fire, to go around the table and tell everyone what he thinks is wrong with them. And I have never seen such behavior. He's like, and you! It was so shocking. I saw people were pushing back from the table one by one and throwing napkins and running out, and at points he was lunging at them across the table. And this is a man in his 50s.
And then Lady Macbeth, Catherine, was sitting there like smizing.
Yes. Catherine, who, it should be noted, and I don't want this to be true, but apparently has recently failed a drug test that Thomas court ordered for her to have.
And just an episode before that was questioning even his fatherhood of the children, was standing by her side and coming after people, including Shep, who has only stood by her side.
It was so shocking when he turned his attentions on Shep. It was like an older man looking at a younger man and feeling such anger for what? Mm-hmm. This guy has his whole life ahead of him and has his parents' money on his side, but also hasn't run for office and been jailed for drug use as Thomas has.
He hasn't sort of destroyed his life and gotten himself into quite a few pickles, as I'll say.
Yeah.
Jail being one of them.
I did a kind of was on his side when he was screaming at Shep, like, how much money does your mama give you every month? I was like, I am curious about that, Shep.
I will say.
You're 37 and taking money from mama.
But I will say, like, he's not a dick.
But he
Again,
doesn't.
I stand by Shep, because I love Shep.
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I want to, and I know everyone out there loves Shep, and I'm really not trying to get into any, controversial waters, but I want to ask everyone, like, does Shep have a job? And don't bring up that restaurant. Do not bring up that restaurant downtown, that little crab shack.
It seems to be doing well. I think that business, as we know, is succeeding.
Oh, Danielle. Okay, maybe I'll give you guys the crab shack with the colorful waitresses.
Yes.
But what I feel with Shep is that scene with him and his mother made me so ill. It made me feel like he was like, when he's like, I just need a woman who can fit in at the yacht club and who's well-traveled. I'm like, you're 37. Your mom, there was something between the two of them that I felt like, what is going on with Shep? Like he's not right. He doesn't work. He's just given a complete trust fund, yet he criticizes other people.
Well, when he was criticizing Craig, his whole leg to stand on was like, you're not us, bro.
You don't have a trust fund, buddy. Get it together.
It's so like that felt hollow because you're like, well, you don't have any legs to stand on, and yet
I guess I have a chip on my shoulder for some reason about people with trust funds. I don't know why.
And let me say, I do not have a trust fund.
Do I
have worked since the day before it was legal.
You actually worked at Shep's Crab Shack, didn't you?
I was a crab shucker.
You did work at a seafood restaurant.
I did work at City Crab and Seafood Company in New York City, RIP, for many years, and so I know a good crab shack when I see one. And I can tell you,
you've always known your way around a crab shack.
I've always known my way around a crab shack.
So that's my own anger and projection. I'm serious when I say that, but when Thomas yelled like, "How much money does your mama give you?" I was like, "Yes!"
And I was like, "You leave him alone," because as much as I am not that person, it's wish fulfillment. I would like to be a trust fund child, and or marry one, which I did not.
When Landon was ascending the steps at T-Rav's and taking in like this gorgeous home that he's built, I could feel coming off the screen that she was like,
yeah, no, I could feel it too. I think she would marry anyone.
I feel the producers, and then we'll move on, are kind of contriving the storyline between Landon and Shep. I know she is in love with him, but when they're teasing future episodes where he's like, let's talk about it, I'm like, And
then I watched the Watch What Happens Live afterwards where they both were, and I don't feel any chemistry, and I don't feel it from her. So when she is like, yeah, I said that, I don't feel the real blush of someone who's really said their emotions out there.
I just feel like Landon, bless her, is just a plain Millie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's not much going on. I mean,
and
God bless her.
that business plan. Oh.
To even call it that is giving it a respect.
When she's like, I guess I should have had the internet done. I guess I should have had the whole
web
done. What
is she doing that she can't get that done?
Thank you, Danielle. She's too busy carrying out trays with coffee and wine on it for guests.
It was just like, what are you doing these last 6 weeks? You have a meeting where this guy is coming from New York. Who knows why?
For the show.
Get it together.
Well, the funny thing is I was watching with David and I was like, I can't watch the scene. It's just too uncomfortable. She's like pulling out her like pages, like her hard copies of paper. And he's like, Casey, it's a reality show. He's going to like her idea. And then the guy was like, this is unacceptable. I was like, uh-oh. Okay. Let's first introduce our guest.
Now, this is another fan favorite. She has a knowledge of the Real Housewives. The depth is incredible. And her opinions are usually so right on that I am in, like she'll say something and I'll be like, no, and then I'll think about it and I'll be like, she's right.
Yeah, you have to sit with her opinions for sure.
Because they're tough sometimes and not what you want to think.
But she doesn't just scratch the surface like the rest of us do. We're like, Michael's handsome even though he's short. She's going deeper and excavating.
And she sees it immediately in the way that I have to. It doesn't come to me as fast.
Yeah. Guys, please welcome a fan favorite and friend of ours, Deanna Cheng.
You guys, that was a beautiful intro.
Oh, well, we feel it. It came from the heart.
Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here in the Nook.
So happy to have you back. And, Deanna co-hosts an amazing podcast also on Earwolf called OMFG. And I've been a guest. And it's basically kind of... non-millennials in a way, if I may, kind of learning about what the mills and
barely non-millennial though, just like right out of it.
Well, I'm solidly sitting in a non-millennial spot.
I am
I'm
practically a grandma.
Yeah, I mean,
but the podcast literally every week explores what the mills and younger are
right,
up
and
to.
the Z's.
And the Z's.
Z after mill? I don't
Yeah.
even know about the Z's. What is age Z?
Well, I don't have the stats exactly, but someone like probably, I think 11 to 17. I don't quote me on that.
What
but
are
that's
the 11-year-olds up to?
we just had, we had a great girl on. Her episode will be out in a couple weeks. And she went around, she asked her mom, what are homeless people? Why are they homeless? Why are they homeless? Her and her grandma make bags and she stuffs it with toiletries and gives it out. I mean, can you deal?
So that's what the Z's are up to.
It's going to be a better world when we're gone and they take over.
I mean, this Z was just off the charts, you know.
But is there anything that she can impart to us about just what's the word on the...
What's the word they're using?
I mean, she had no words. She told us she gave us the acronym FYI. I was like, oh my God. So, you know, she was 9.
Is FYI coming back around?
It means something else. It's like, fuck you, ingrate. Now, what are the mills? Will you just give us just some hot tips the mills are up to?
Yeah, 'cause
Sure.
we're always trying to mill it up.
I mean, just know that, like, if you're questioning where are mills looking, who's their leader, it's Kylie Jenner. Just know that.
I
just
did
as
know
a
that.
standard.
I mean,
you know,
her
that's
new
who they're-
black lip kit color came out, inspired by fans.
Great. I mean, she's on Snapchat. She's making it all happen. She's at the forefront of like who they want to be and how they want to live. If you look at her Instagram account and look at a picture, any picture, you'll see a stream of about 300 to 400 comments that are all LB, row for row. What
does that mean?
Roe v. Wade?
It's cuckoo, like back. Row for row is, and there's other. They're just.
What is that?
Wait,
What is
slow down.
the derivation? What is the?
They want.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Yeah. Could I hear the definition?
It's so base, and they don't use their words. They just want.
I say that to my 2-year-old all the time. Use your words.
They're not using
No,
them.
it's cuckoo like Kylie.
No, I meant like it's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, like but I like that.
Sorry.
But no, like back. So they're not even talking to her. They're not talking to Kylie. They don't want her to like back. They want the other commenters to go to their profile and like.
I like that. They know their place. It's like, we ain't getting Kylie.
No, they
Let's just
know
appeal
that.
to who
The
we could get.
masses.
Yeah, and
The
row
cuckoos.
Row for row. I don't row for row. I think they want like a bunch of
Oh, row
emojis
for
in a
row.
row. I don't know, but or maybe
And
you
they
like
crave
some. You
that?
like a row of Instagrams on somebody's thing.
What's a row of Instagram?
Like, you know how if I went to the last 8 pictures and
Yes.
liked, that would be like
That's a
maybe
row?
I don't know. I'm assuming, you know. But that's some of what, and I guess I have to do a deeper dive, but it's so upsetting. You know, these are the things we're looking into.
I'm so glad this didn't exist when I was younger.
It's
but I wonder
terrible.
if their row for row is our Pearl Jam.
I gotta tell you, Danielle, Pearl Jam was before my time. I'm like, Dave Matthews Band?
Here, I have a term for you guys. This is a really cute one. This
Okay.
is one to take onto the streets,
Ooh, I'm going to
everybody.
take it today. I'm going to taking it to
The streets. Glowed up.
Ooh.
Have you heard it?
Could I have a spelling?
Glowed, GLOWED.
And what does it come from? What word does it, the derivation, please?
Well, the idea behind it is like, okay, you know, I just got a raise and highlights in my hair. I'm glowed up.
Love
Like
it.
I'm glowing. I'm glowing because I'm so shiny.
You're so goddamn shiny.
I'm glowed up.
So much
I
is happening for me
So
right
much
now.
is happening. It's like I didn't get a parking ticket. I got guacamole on my burrito. I'm glowed up.
I'm row for row.
I'm
Row for row.
I'm
glowed
LB.
up. Pearl Jam.
Oh, no, Danielle.
How are you guys doing with Snapchat, by the way? Are
Oh,
we?
Well, we're going to accept a Snapchat challenge next week,
Yes.
which Danielle and I are going to attempt to start Snapchat accounts and just see if we can figure it out.
Yeah,
really, just logistically.
Yeah, I need to know. As I said before, I've done it where I've put a dog tongue on my tongue, and that I know that to be Snapchat, and that's my experience with my nieces. But I'd like to get in and see what's really. What's it about?
I'd like to see rainbows out of my mouth and, the usual.
Yeah.
Like, just start small.
Right.
Or bejeweled eyes.
Or I'd love a flower crown.
Yes, I would love a flower crown.
No girl can. I mean, you just can't deny.
Can't
the
resist
flower
the allure.
crown. You look gorgeous with it. I mean,
so that's next week, and Danielle and I are going to attempt. Deanna to
Snapchat. Our listeners have been demanding we get on Snapchat. Also to hear what Bethenny's. If Bethenny can handle Snapchat, I think we can.
And we've heard Ramona has a Snapchat, which it's up there with the Southern Charm last episode in terms of just a canon of worthiness.
Right.
Guys, let's get into we have two major things to discuss. The first is that a show came out of the blue, and I do mean the clear blue skies.
They didn't advertise it at all. I happened to catch that it was going to be on.
Thank God I looked at my DVR and saw it. What would have happened had we missed it?
I didn't even have it in my DVR because I've moved DVRs, so that was not in there yet. So it literally was I was watching something else and I was like, what is this?
What this is in Orange County. It's called Uncensored. Is that what it was called?
Season 8.
Season 8.
So not even last season.
Guys,
season
deep cut. 8. And I put it in quotes like Yolanda did. Yeah. Season 8. Where they interview all the cast members from season 8. And just to remind you, we're talking Lydia.
We're
Alexis.
talking Gretchen Christine Butte.
This is
before her chin was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but then they cut to her and it's strange.
And this is the season that Gretchen proposed to Slade on the rooftop with that see-through white.
Saddest proposal known to man.
Basically in this episode, they all discuss what went on, but that's the least of it.
Right.
The best part of all, and someone said they did this for Beverly Hills. Again, somehow I missed it. They have all the producers, 6 producers. These are grown-ass people speaking in an educated way like historians about their experience filming and producing season 8. As though it's
it was kind of as if it was behind the scenes of the Declaration of Independence, what went into the writing of that.
The only thing I can liken it to, if I can give a recommendation, was Oprah season 25. If anyone remembers that, it was on OWN. Again, if you haven't seen this, it's the finest thing I've ever seen.
Behind the scenes, where you see they get manicures and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
this is the behind the scenes of the staff and Oprah putting together the final season of Oprah.
I'll never forget it.
Sherry Salata, the producer, Sherry Salata.
I have not seen this. I need to.
It's amazing. Yeah. And I'm not glowed up on Oprah. No, it's not the right. It's wrong.
Did you
use
it right?
It's wrong. No, I was just having fun, but it is fascinating.
And I am an Oprah lover. Sometimes I have not I've caught road trips galore, but I have not seen the.
Oh, and you see what goes into the making of that famous camping trip between Gail and Oprah. I mean, it's so riveting. Actually,
is that where we learned JJ?
No,
but that's where we really dropped into Oprah's love of Moscow mules.
Great.
So here we are, Orange County Uncensored, and it is wild.
Yeah, a bunch of old men. The first thing that they won't eat on camera. That was a huge revelation, and now I had to look back to all of my, the Rolodex of Orange County scenes that are still in my head. Did she take a bite? And so that was a fascinating tidbit that we did not know before.
And the girls had made a pact with each other. They don't eat on camera. And you guys, we're watching footage that's unused where they're talking to the producers. It's breaking the fourth wall in such a fascinating way.
I loved it because it was they do know that people are watching them. Sometimes it seems as if they don't. And and they must have a relationship with these people for years. They do.
And by these people, do you mean these brave producers, Kevin Lee, Alex Baskin, Larry Grimaldi, Bill Fitz, Adam Carpel, and Douglas Ross? I want to just thank you all for your service.
Yes, you have done great things and we appreciate it. And you have lived to tell.
I mean, something about it's one thing. We know Andy Cohen, and that's the only guy that I like to imagine
that is working the camera,
all of
doing the catering,
yes,
brushing up on their makeup. He's the only one.
I
pulling
picture Andy at the end of Truman Show. Spoiler alert: when Jim Carrey's rowing out to sea, and then you hear Ed Harris Truman, hello, I've been watching you, and that's Andy.
But there's a network of people behind Ed Harris.
Middle-aged, doughy white men. That was shocking.
Yes. There's not a woman in the bunch.
There was like one gal for half a second.
Okay.
She just piped in quickly. And this was also the season when they were on the ski slopes and Lori came back and accused Vicky of a threesome. Guys, they had hired an Olympic skier who has filming experience to be following the girls at Whistler. He didn't pan out. Kevin Lee, the main producer, who I've come to really love.
Well, but I do not trust your judgment.
Okay, I think he's wonderful. He strapped a camera on his fucking shoulder. He rode down that slopes, and thank God he caught that conversation.
Otherwise, we would never have known. I mean, an Olympic skier couldn't do what a reality producer did, and that says a lot.
And they do say it's like, you know, you feel like these producers talk about what it's like to take these women on a vacation. And it's like
take them on, period.
Yeah, it's like they're literally having to herd wild animals. They're loose on vacation.
Yes.
You know, that's the feeling. Like they're gonna move.
And they do move. Like that night at Andalays was unplanned. Andalays was unplanned.
And it's so crazy because I learned so many things so quickly. Like first I thought everything's unplanned. Then I learned everything's completely planned. Oh no, Vicky's going to Andalays.
She's gone rogue. She's gone rogue.
They literally, the cameras are like, it was as though this was a wartime thing where they're like, you know, hurry. It's like, it was
like the cameras had been packed up for the night.
Chaotic. A guy's like, Vicky's on 4th Street, follow her.
They're moving.
Running. They're moving. They're on the move. They are going to Andalays. I repeat, they are going to Andalays.
And that was, who knew? But thank God that Bill, who I now think is the hero of this series, you know, it's not about Andy anymore. It's all about Bill. Yeah. That we would never have gotten that footage. And then Tamra, we also found out that she was the one that pointed it out to the producers, and the camera people get that P mark.
Oh, when Vicky peed on the bed.
And I have to say, like, I had one terrible week at camp as a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, whatever. It was the worst week as a kid I had ever had. I would never put myself, it's like you're going with a bunch of like women who are looking to find your P spot and tell people about it. Yeah. Like it's the equivalent of my underwear being like tossed up the flagpole at 4-H camp.
So when they say you're my sister, soul sister.
Just want to be my sister.
That clip.
Oh my God.
But so like, no, she's not, because she's telling, like, if you don't know it in that moment, and that she's telling everyone, hey, look at her pee stain.
And the way they describe the web of the female dynamics about how, like, you know, the producers would just be like, you know, in this season, Alexis really had to buddy up with Vicky because Tamara was on the other side. And then Gretchen kind of took on Tamara's friendship so that those two camps could war. It's really like
so
battleship.
Political.
Yeah.
So political.
And oh, go ahead.
I do have a question about, and maybe you guys got to the bottom of it, but the threesome story.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that Vicky and her sister. I'm asking you because
I am laughing because it sounds crazy.
I'm just trying to. So it's like, what's her face? What's her name?
Lori.
Lori came back on the show with a hot story.
Yes.
The hot story was that she saw Vicky and her sister.
But it was, maybe, did she not know it was
She
her
didn't know.
sister?
She thought Vicky was involved in a threesome.
I don't believe that. She knows her sister. She's worked with her.
But it wasn't Lori that saw it. I think it was a friend that saw it and told Lori.
But Lori said she saw it. Lori said she walked in the room.
But then what really happened was like it got to be like telephone. I think Lori kind of wanted to trump this up like it was something else.
But I mean, if she didn't know that was her sister, I guess that's one thing. But if she marched in with just the story that like she saw Vicky in bed with her sister and her sister's man or Vicky's man.
Unclear who the man was, but I also felt was at work is that Vicky's sister doesn't want her business on TV. So like that was kind of an element too of like, how dare you bring her into this?
Okay.
But the main problem being that Vicky felt like They were intimating. And when Vicky said in the testimonial, I almost threw up.
Yeah.
When she's like, to me, being intimate is when, people are rubbing pink parts.
Yeah.
Pink parts. I was like,
parts.
She's such a child, Vicky.
man.
Like the way that she talks of things, like, I can't see that. I can't do that. Like when she panics like that, there is something about her that is so childlike that I find it upsetting.
and it's interesting to me to know that there are these two universes existing. And again, I've always known it, but we see the women, we see what's going on. But then to see that behind the scenes, Vicky's like calling shots, like, let's go. We got to keep filming. Let's wrap it up. Like, get this shot. And Housewives talking about like, she was standing in front of me. So I couldn't.
A new girl never stands in front of you. Bitch, get out the way.
Get out of my shot.
I also learned that like you do need 12 months to let a face settle after surgery. You need those 12 months.
I would say I think you need a good 2 years.
Well, then how can we do this?
We can't.
We
and
can't.
we shouldn't.
And we shouldn't. And it was classic Vicky to be like, look, I thought 3 months was enough time for my face to settle. I was wrong.
And the producer goes, we watched her face evolve as the season evolved. Like in real time.
I want to talk quickly about Terry and Heather.
Yes.
Okay, I learned so much.
Me too. I had no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
I thought Heather, as an actress, was pulling the strings, and I thought she was behind wanting all this. Terry.
Terry, you sneaky little devil.
You little snake. They revealed that Terry forged Heather's signature on her contract, and Heather really didn't want to be on the show initially. And I understand that. She's an actress. She doesn't want to put herself out there in that light. Once you host something, Kelly Ripa's not appearing in movies and TV anymore. And she felt like once you go reality, you're not going back to like
scripted
a Mike Nichols movie.
But at the same time,
I guess you will go back to Hot in Cleveland.
Yes.
head right back there.
And who knows? Did they offer to Gretchen first? These are the questions. That's a question that did not get answered. But I will say, I felt for her in a way that I haven't before. She became a little more human through this. She's always come off cold as ice.
Agreed.
A fame whore.
Yeah.
And in the way that she's cold, I think she was more just like, she's actually a smart woman. And I could see when they went back and showed the clips how much she's trying to control what Terry says, and that he doesn't come off stupid, and that he comes off right, and that they come off okay. And actually, I would think those aren't good qualities for a housewife, because I just love when someone doesn't give up.
Yeah,
Right.
well, those are the best housewives, but it's actually working because she's coming off as a specific type of character.
And also they have so much money, and they're, having breaking ground parties, and all of that she doesn't know is so inappropriate. So because she doesn't know that, she's allowed to have like a storyline.
Right.
Yeah.
But Terry's a little fame whore.
Yes.
It's so gross. I don't like it. I learned. It was a genuine revelation.
Yeah, and it made me feel for her because I've hated on Heather a little bit, with like all their money being stolen. Like, not that you should, but like the way that they were just kind of
I think they're okay, Danielle.
Well, $1 million in their buckets and buckets of money, and just like their new house, like renovation. As I've watched it over Instagram, like I'm like, oh God. But now I feel for her in a way, so it actually made her more human to me.
And then Gretchen. Gretchen did not come off well.
No, it told me what I always knew, but I just know more now, which was like everything was planned. Everything was like her and Slade, that whole thing, their relationship at some level.
Was a sham.
It's a sham.
The producers slammed her so hard across the board. You could tell they hated her. They're like, oh yeah, that was fake when Slade, had a Rolls Royce pull out. She returned it.
Like 2 weeks later.
The proposal was so that she could have a storyline. The one producer was like, yeah, there was nothing going on in her life. We don't need to watch someone ship out bags. Remember, she was always just like filling orders for her purses.
Gretchen Christine Butte. And like, who is ordering that bag?
She's like, order up. I was like, give us some drama. And
did you guys? But I have to say, and I'm not like ride or die with OC, but I have watched that season. I do. There's something about her that I always liked. And I felt like with her dying husband, she was a lot better. And I blame Slade is like so dirty, and I feel like
But when you lay down with dogs, you get fleas.
Said it.
And she did. She laid down with the dog and she got fleas.
And the producer sort of said the same, which was that when she started, she was kind of this fun girl. She was a real estate agent. Who knew? Mm-hmm. And
aren't they all?
Yeah. I think that's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
But, she was Yeah, but that apparently then she was trying to manufacture something.
Right. Mm-hmm. And we smelled it.
And she was just busted. Like she said, the producers told me I couldn't invite any of the housewives to my proposal party. They told me that. And they literally do a cut of all the producers going, not true. Why? We would want them there. That's ridiculous. She's crazy.
I think she was gunning for a spinoff of her and Slade.
Nobody cared.
To show like, oh, look what we can do on our own. We don't need those other bitches. And it was like not interesting. And also the other housewives knew it was fake and they smelled it. And they would have said it on camera about like, this is a fake thing. Why are we here? Like, this is stupid.
My least favorite scenes of Slade and Gretchen were in that home. That
dirty with the dogs.
One level home where they were always at the kitchen, like scooping coffee with the dogs skittering around and hi baby and doing their like domestic routine.
And it also felt like that house, like she had not decorated, she had moved in furnished, like it had that type of like feel to it. Just like, this furniture will not offend anyone. These, wall plaques will not do anything to anyone. Like it just felt like staged. Their life was staged. Just like their house.
My one, another big takeaway / exciting tip was that if a housewife does not want to be filmed, they run behind the cameraman.
Yes.
That was hot.
Fascinating.
That's a hot tip.
Yeah. Good tip. That would have been me.
Yeah.
Those men with...
I did feel like, well, I have to say, I thought when they were showing the strippers for Tamara's Bachelorette and Heather was like, I'm going to sue for harassment. It was like the strippers are just having fun. Like, calm down. Yeah. I think Heather takes herself so seriously.
Oh, she does.
It's like, were the strippers kind of... invasive, yeah, but
I would have run
that's their job.
I would have run for D Hills. So I'm just I have empathy for that. Sure. I would have gotten clear out of Dodge.
No, it was amazing though, and I thank you for
pointing
Bravo. Me there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to remember is a phrase. It's a place. And this just was such a part of past seasons for Oshie. I was really excited when they brought up, remember when Tamara went to when Gretchen went to Bass Lake.
Did you go to Bass Lake?
You were at Bass Lake. We heard you went to Bass Lake.
You go to Bass Lake.
I was like, what is Bass Lake?
We've got to go. Someone, if you've been to Bass Lake, tell us everything. And OC starts again next week.
So much. And New Jersey starting. I'm starting to get
but in the motherhood's over, so we can focus, as is Dallas. But now we move to this week's episode of New York City. Wow. New York, New York. What a wonderful town.
So you guys I still feel like I can't wrap my body around what happened this week. It was such an odd, the emotional landscape of this week was hard to navigate.
I call this week's episode Fat Tipsy Bitches, which would have been a great name for a Prosecco, because we all know Sonia loves Prosecco.
She's wanted a Prosecco business forever.
But it was funny because LuAnn says, I've never heard you say that. She's like, you know me, I've always wanted a Prosecco business. And LuAnn, true to form, I've never heard you say that.
Checked.
LuAnn's behavior on this episode.
She, speaking of tweaked, I know T-Rav was tweaked. She, at the end of the episode, was...
Gone, girl.
Gone.
Gone, baby, gone.
She gone. She gone down. She just not with us.
She was quite glued up all episode.
And her schoolgirl sort of I'm in love. Like her Meg Ryan impression during this episode of just I'm in love. Can you believe me? I'm, fresh as a daisy. And her 6-week romance with this shyster.
It was so sad.
At the very least, he's just a horn dog. Yeah. I don't even know that he knows he's engaged. I honestly or that he's in love. I think she was so set on falling in love. And there were several times where she kept banging on tables when talking about it. And I was like, I'm so scared of her excitement and her crazy emotions.
So upsetting,
right now.
Especially when she told Ramona, and Ramona's like, he's been giving bracelets to other women. She goes, and then Ramona's like, I'm happy for you, and she goes, say it again, say it again.
It was but also
and then
that
when she kissed her,
it was very
It was she just wanted the reaction she wanted that she didn't want to hear. Ramona being a terrible friend. I'm not saying that you shouldn't say oh, this guy, I've heard things just watch out. But the way she said it, where she enjoyed bursting her bubble. And even Avery was like, yeah, Mom, Why you gotta say that?
I mean, Avery always keeps it real.
I love Avery. God bless Avery.
That was so LuAnn. It was just like, I'm in love. And
She's gotta pinch myself. She's running. She's slamming things. She's as Danielle pointed out, sweat was forming on her upper lip.
It was like, I've never seen something. And then Sonya's saying like, maybe he's her soulmate, but I've been doing him forever.
I love that this man, God bless him, has slept with 3 women in this cast. I mean,
we got
but
slayed.
recently, it wasn't like, who was the other guy again? I'm
Harry.
sorry, Harry Dubin, the Dubster. Dubster had a bunch of women, but at least it seemed like it had been some time. Like time had passed.
Yeah, no, these are
where
bumping.
This is Tom is like in like 6 weeks has gone through
all of them,
all their vaginas,
all of them,
and it's not a great look on him.
And even like LuAnn, when she was like like Sonia, I mean, I think it was just one of those in and out. I was like, oh my God, like I'm so scared of you right now.
That is such a great impression.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
And then when she tried to justify why a man would have given a expensive bracelet for Christmas to another woman, she goes, he's thoughtful. What? He's thoughtful.
And then also turning it on Bethenny, going like, well, I know you and your ex can't be friends, but other people, like, it's like, oh, if you think that that's what this is about, she just always has to turn out.
And she was so crazy in that dinner with Bethenny. Bethenny arrives basically saying like, which no one needed to hear, but Bethany's like, hey, I'm bleeding out of my vagina.
Oh, that was a rough.
And everyone was like, what?
That's all you can think of, because we've all had our issues.
Sure.
And that was a tough.
And I know I'm not one to talk having overshared in that realm, and I regret that. But like, don't arriving at dinner just like, I'm bleeding everywhere, like I'm a stuck pig. It's like, what?
Yeah, I think at least your thing was it had happened. This was like we're all in the moment. As
she's like, Chardonnay bleeding out of my vagina.
Yeah, I was like, if you're bleeding that much, do not leave the house. I mean, again, don't leave the house.
I feel like alcohol would only kind of
thin it.
It's not going to absorb it. That's for sure.
Alcohol would thin it. But the best was that she announces this to LuAnn, which like if a friend did come to me and say like, I'm bleeding every which way,
I would be like, you need to go home right now. Yeah. And you need to call somebody.
A doctor, preferably.
Yeah.
And LuAnn said instead, like, I wondered where you were because I'm like, you're really late.
And she's the worst person. LuAnn,
she's like, I gotta go see Tommy Tune.
Yeah, Tommy Tune's waiting. It's like Tommy Tune does not know you're coming. Like, Tommy Tune's, the show will go on. Okay? Tommy Tune's gonna tap dance his heart out and the show will be fine if you are there or not.
The one thing I will say that I did enjoy about Bethenny bleeding out was that it actually took a little of the piss and vinegar out of her, and I like
she
her
drained.
I need, after what we've been through with her, the couple, like her drained was like.
Is everybody else's like even?
Yeah, it was kind of like, thank you for being drained because I can breathe and like experience you. And, it was easy.
Right. And it's interesting that someone bleeding out would actually kind of level them off for you.
And it did.
For her.
Who would have expected it?
Yeah. Who knew?
That's how you'd like to
ground.
see her.
I prefer her bleeding out.
I think you'll be happy to know she's still bleeding out next
episode.
And
so
I am.
Oh, God.
Wow. And then when LuAnn invited herself, she goes, I heard you guys are going to wherever. And then she's like,
I accept. That laugh. I will hear it in my nightmares.
Now, do you guys think, to connect the dots between the OC behind the scenes and the scene of Bethenny and LuAnn when Bethenny just left for Tommy Tune and didn't pay for her drinks or mention anything, are the producers paying for these drinks? Is that what we're seeing?
I constantly wonder who's paying for things. And that was like, I don't think so, because why would she even mention it? Don't you get so used to like not paying for the meal on camera so much that it wouldn't even be a thing?
Right.
I think they may pay for a portion,
but not that drink. Like, what? We're not paying for this drink unless you like. What's the?
I think that like she bought a lot of drinks, that night, and I think that they can't be buying full because these girls will suck them dry. Like they're not spending like that on them. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like they're cheap. They don't get them hair and makeup all the time.
Exactly.
Like I don't think they're buying them.
I want to know, and I wanted to know if anyone knows. Please tell me. Are the women getting hair and makeup every single time? Is that coming out of their own pocket?
Yes, I believe it is.
I think so.
Guys, that's
Just
got to be 20 grand alone.
Testimonials. Bravo pays for.
Right. I know that because that's a heavy-handed makeup artist.
Yes.
Thank God.
Filters too. God
and I will say,
praise the Lord.
With so much love, and I don't know who this will offend, but it might offend someone somehow. But I think whenever I've had to go in and do like specific like network jobs where you're like reading advertisement or copy, they're pulling from a heavy makeup artist pool with someone with a heavier touch.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, they're not getting the most high-end glam squads in those situations. And I think that to me is, I'm somehow linking up to the testimonial looks. And maybe
you're
I'm wrong,
just
guys.
using your experience saying like you're blaming the networks.
They're not getting their personal makeup artist. They're the person that knows their skin, knows their face.
Because that person's going to charge $1,000 for 2 hours.
Yeah,
whereas I'm sure they're
like
paying $1,000 a day for
someone who's
everyone.
doing all of them, or like two people doing all of them. They don't know them from Adam. They don't know their skin.
Yeah, it's like a wedding party when like one woman shows up and she's like, I got 12 girls. And does them all. Whereas like Erica Girardi is of course paying for her own person.
As would I say, I think Carol is as well.
Carol looks great.
She always looks consistent.
But some of them might be doing their own.
Carol might know how to do her own makeup.
Right.
Let me say, we can all, and Deanna, you look gorgeous this morning. Like put on a face for out and about. To do makeup for HD television on your own, wow, you got to be good.
You do.
You got to know your angles, your contours.
I don't know those.
I couldn't either. I once watched Eva Longoria contour her face, and I was amazed by it.
She could.
I watched her through like a bathroom stall. It was not my finest.
Oh, IRL.
Yeah, like she was getting ready for something, and I, watched.
What a creeper.
Oh my God, I'm
a real
so
creeper.
upset right now.
What a creeper.
Danielle, wait, more information.
Not like it wasn't like she was getting ready. Like just
But where
makeup.
were
makeup.
you?
I was just like getting ready for a table read, and
Did she know you were in the bathroom?
Probably not.
Were you bleeding out?
Always.
That's why you have such a lovely personality.
Happened to be in the bathroom when it was happening, and she was doing a contour. She knows her angles.
Right.
She knows exactly what she's doing. She's
so
flawless.
impressive.
Flawless. And so I had to watch. What was I going to not watch?
Not get an education.
Yeah, I was like, this is a free tutorial.
Right.
She was up to some stuff, and she knows.
You had gone back to school.
I had. School was in session on that toilet. Pants down. School was in session.
Pants down, blood out.
Can't lose.
Blood out. Oh, God. I once did a movie with Barbara Streisand. My part was later cut. And
we've all been there. We've all been there.
No one told me till I watched it on an airplane. Anyway, she was telling me, she does all her own makeup.
You spoke to her?
Yes. She has the most amazing schedule very quickly. In her contract, she will only work, I believe, a 12-hour day, which in our business is short.
Yeah, that's not.
But 12-hour day, door to motherfucking door. So someone's picking her up from her home. But this is the best.
Yeah.
Included in that time is she sits down and does her own makeup. Clock has started. Like she has punched in. When a brush comes up to her face, like clock's on. She does her own makeup for an hour because she knows her face so well. And not only that, she's so smart. She knows every single lens. So
because she's a director.
Yes.
She's directing her face.
Yes. And she knows her angles. She knows her face. She can do beautiful makeup. So she does it at her home in like a nice, gorgeous, I'm sure.
Oh, I've seen her home from the outside. Again, creeping.
I saw her home on Oprah and was a little weirded out by the
mall.
The mall below that she sets up a fake mall with all her purchases. Anyway,
I understand it.
Okay. Then they pick her up. She drives to set. So now we're like 2 hours into our day already because who knows where set is. So then, she really only works 7 or 8 hours like there. Then they got to wrap her. They got to get her in the car because she's got to be home by the end of that 12 hours.
Is taking the makeup off as well on the clock? I just out of curiosity.
Probably.
And this is why we love Deanna, because she asks the hard questions.
And I will say one more little fact. She's had the same dog for 30 years. And by that, I mean, when one passes, she gets a dog that's identical and names it the same name.
Now, does she have them in the waiting? Like, are they breeding them for?
I don't know.
I'll never recover from that. That's very upsetting.
That's not great. That speaks.
But I will say she was lovely.
Oh, Sounds like she was. To go through her routine for you, that was a generous person.
I'll be honest, I cobbled together that routine from others.
From looking through her,
She wasn't walking me through it.
her purse.
She wasn't walking me through it. It was more of a thing I picked up from production. But she was so lovely to me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back to New
We
York.
only have a little time left.
Yes.
Guys.
What else hit you about New York?
I will say that Ramona saying like, "There's nothing like Dorinda," like that was scary. I mean,
There's nothing like which part?
By the way, I don't even know if she said that.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I said it like LuAnn. I misquoted it and I'm out. So go on.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Was it Ramona?
Remember it was when I don't like it anymore and I wish it was gone. But when they were deciding whether or not to keep Dorinda and Lou, not Dorinda. Oh my God, did I say Dorinda?
Yeah.
Okay, good night. I'll see you guys. See you tomorrow.
Good morning.
Good morning, and I'll
This
see
is
you.
morning us. It's different.
That was a disaster.
Let's start again. Take us through.
Let's start again.
Okay.
So when they were trying to figure out whether they should keep Sonia
at the tequila tasting vacation.
and that was very contrived. Like Bethenny had her pimp hand so strong and all those bitches fell in line. Like they knew what they had to say. But Ramona, she didn't want to answer, so she kept mute.
So she has that Cheshire cat grin on her fucking face.
And then,
you guys can't see it, but Deanna's doing her eyes and it is so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then they, have her in the testimonial going like, "There's nothing like Sonia on a trip."
Okay, I'm so glad we circled back.
We
for
had
this.
to really.
So glad we got at that because
That was a journey.
It was later in the whole mix, and then it was just this testimonial. It was like one
line,
line,
a one-off,
and it was so weird.
and her eyes were like, I hope I don't think
I think she started by saying, "I hope they invite her because
there's
nothing like Sonia on a trip."
Oh, if you guys could see Deanna's eyes right now.
It was so slow and halting.
And I didn't know, are you joking? Are you serious? Are you okay? Those were like my three big questions.
I felt like something had happened between them before the testimonials where she felt like I need to at least offend her once. So she's like, "There's nothing like," it was like, "There's no place like home."
Yeah, it felt like she was trapped.
Also
at gunpoint.
Yeah, it was, and that feels like a contrived trip. Also, this tequila trip, it feels like it just smacks of.
And I'm so tired of Bethenny being like, "I got to work. You guys can come."
Yeah. Like she's so much more important than them. Then get
and
off
I
the
did
show,
like
then.
we all liked the moment of Bethenny curled up in bed in her kind of like
we
plaid
all wanted
skirt
to be there
with
That was
Carol,
so good.
both of them in those
like
sweaters.
creamy sweaters, like
curled up in bed midday.
It was
luxurious.
amazing.
I wanted to be there.
Luxury.
And then we also saw Adam's apartment.
I liked it.
I did
For
too.
New York City, it felt fresh and new. Like that has been
Yeah.
redone. It's still like New York is so small. Having lived there and lived in a shoebox of a place and paid so much money for it, I understand.
So much crab shucking money.
Yeah, but the
Oyster shucking
blood
money.
these hands have seen from crabs went directly into a shitty apartment in the East Village. But it's tough to look at an apartment that small.
Wow.
But what I appreciated about
on that show.
Right.
What I appreciated about it was like, I have a girlfriend right now just said something so funny to me. She's been dating guys in New York and she's like, they're all boys. Like these are men. And she goes, I will no longer date a man who only owns one towel. Yeah. And I feel like that's just a great standard to adhere to. And I feel like Adam's place was very grown up, which I appreciated.
Yes, it was. It had been redone. It had been redone. Yeah. Like you don't see cabinets like that in a New York apartment. Pre-war?
Now, I want to say, if we existed in a world where, let's say, technology allowed us to do some type of like rejiggering of Adam and Carol's faces, bodies, everything. Okay, hear me out, guys. And
we do live in this world.
Okay, yes. Can this happen?
We are in this
where
world.
we just were to see them as forms.
This is odd. This is odd. I'm not gonna lie.
Going.
I don't even know what I'm imagining, but go on.
They're forms of energy.
Okay. Now I'm
imagine, if you will, a bright light. No, they're forms of energy.
Yeah.
I don't think we would know who was older.
Correct.
I have no problem with their age difference. I have never had a problem with their age difference. It does not.
She seems younger to me in spirit than him.
She is young in spirit. But the way
let's not forget when we all teared up when she was explaining her revelation with the cat.
That was
devastating.
Deep and devastating, because having read her book, which was beautiful. If you haven't read it, what remains. Sorry, what comes. God, Danielle, get on it. Come on, Grandma. But it was it's a beautiful story of her relationship, and it made so much sense.
And it's so well written. It's very sophisticated. It's not
She's
what
a
you're
writer.
thinking. We're not talking Widow's Guide and
No.
radishes and voting with radishes.
No, it is a beautifully written book.
A memoir about grief.
Here's the thing, though, guys. Like, I love that she had her revelation, because it's never too late. You know, let's get our revelations when they come.
How old are you saying
Yeah,
she
she has
is?
5 summers, maybe 4 now.
She's down to 4. And I just felt like, I love that you had this revelation, and I don't want you to use it on Adam.
You don't think he's the one to settle in
Absolutely do not.
Deanna.
What?
He'll be leaving her, not the other way around.
Exactly.
with? So you don't
So I don't want her to waste her revelation and her epiphany
on
someone
who's
who
not
it
gonna
will
be
not
there.
work. Like, have that epiphany and put it on someone who you can grow with and have
I
go
hear
to
that.
the end.
But just say, like,
Great
let's
point.
take kids out of the formula, like
Children?
from-
They're out.
But I'm saying, like, why do you think it won't be? Do you think it's
I
because
don't
she
think-
doesn't want
well,
kids? And
I told you guys what Wang said. Should we, I mean, I showed my husband the earlier episode, and he said, when I paused it, I was like, what do you think of these two? And he's like,
Carol and Adam.
yeah. And he said, well, genuine, just information.
Yeah.
He said, it looks like he's just beginning his life, and she's not included in it when he was away and he was,
that's tough.
when I watch them together, I'm not feeling Adam like all up in her. Are you guys?
Did you? Well, I remember when I first met them together. There's chemistry. I do feel chemistry.
Oh yeah, when she
Unlike-
was riding on the handlebars.
was-
Yeah,
a year-
unlike
2 years ago.
Landon and Shep, I feel a real chemistry between them two. I'm not saying they haven't settled into the relationship.
I do too, but I wish what she had come to the realization beyond the realization, and again, we're just forms of energy, as I've said, is this: she has invested in him.
She
and I don't
has.
think she realizes that.
I see.
She has invested, and maybe
And has he? I'm LuAnn now.
that comes. To,
No.
that will come to pass.
Can you give me your opinion?
I don't believe he has.
I don't think he
I
has.
don't think it will land on her,
Okay.
but I do think he'll remember her
Fondly.
as one of the greatest loves of his life.
No doubt. No doubt. He is learning a lot from her. She's an amazing woman.
Well, on that dark note,
note,
I want to
guys.
say one more thing to wrap up our episode, which is that we all watched Real Housewives of New York and we saw all the Real Housewives, but there was someone else in the episode that made a special appearance.
Yes, there was
Her name
a
is
homegrown star.
She's sitting with us right now. Our intrepid assistant, April Mouton, was in the episode of The Real Housewives tonight by way of the Sprint commercial.
Her highlights looked gorgeous.
Gorgeous. She is sitting, if you're watching the episode, I'm told the old Verizon guy
Who's now on an AT&T Sprint.
He's kind of coming towards camera, and who does he pass? Sitting
And
at
April
a cafe
says it
table.
casually, as if we all knew she was going. There I am, and we all froze the TV and we're like, "What?"
April's gotten closer to the Real Housewives than we ever will.
I mean, she's on the show.
Yeah, she's basically the other cast member.
It was thrilling, and you did a great job.
And congratulations, April.
Congrats, guys. Deanna, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Deanna.
This was-
Always such a pleasure.
Listen to
It's a way to
Deanna's
start a day.
It is.
This is a way to start a day.
Listen
and
to
for a
Deanna's
business to
podcast,
succeed.
OMFG. It's amazing. So funny.
good.
Thank you.
And we'll all learn. I can't wait to hear this 9-year-old what tricks she's up to.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glowed up for the day, guys.
I am glowed up.
Load up from the flow up.
I'm glowed up and bled out.
glowed up. At our age, we're glowed up and bleeding out.
Bye.
Cry, baby, cry. Hi, I'm Sarah Thayer.
And I'm Susan Orlean, and nothing makes us happier than hearing what makes people cry.
On our show, Cry Babies, we talk to comedians, musicians, writers, and other awesome people about what makes them cry. And sometimes we cry too.
But it's the good kind of crying, therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like when James Urbaniak explained why Yellow Submarine is so affecting.
I had Revolver, and I was listening to that, and that came on, and suddenly just John Lennon cutting up, "In our yellow," and he's just being so funny, and it just snuck up on me. What's going on? I'm crying at Yellow Submarine, the goofiest Beatles song.
So listen to Cry Babies. Find us on Earwolf, Howl, iTunes, or your favorite podcast app.
This has been an Earwolf production, executive produced by Scott Aukerman, Adam Sachs, and Chris Bannon. For more information and content, visit earwolf.com.